Alrighty. Scenic Gustavo here, aka Leroy Jenkins on Activision. I'm going to be quickly going over the Grau 5.56 assault rifle attachments. I will be making videos about my favorite attachments, but for now I'm just going over all of the attachments. So let's get into it. First off, we have the muzzles. And first for the muzzles, we have the flash guard. Pros: muzzle flash concealment. Cons: bullet velocity. Suppresses the flash of your weapon to help keep your target visible and your position concealed. Then we have the breacher device, muzzle attachment that enables one-hit melee. Pros: melee damage. Cons: aimed on sight speed and aim locking steadiness. Now we have the tactical suppressor. Pros: sound suppression. Cons: aimed on sight speed and aim locking steadiness. Next is the muzzle brake. Pros: recoil stabilization. Cons: aimed on sight speed and aiming stability. Redirects gases outward to stabilize the weapon for better control of sustained fire. Now we have the lightweight suppressor. Pros: sound suppression. Cons: damage range. After that, the compensator. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aimed on sight speed and aiming stability. Expels gases upward to aggressively fight muzzle climb. Last for the muzzles, we have the monolithic suppressor. Pros: sound suppression, damage range. Cons: aimed on sight speed and aim locking steadiness. Now we're on to the barrels. First off, the ZLR Drifter A08. Pros: aimed on sight speed, movement speed, recoil control. Cons: damage range and bullet velocity. Built-in foregrip allows first-class agility and maneuverability without sacrificing recoil control. Next is the Tempest 26.4-inch Archangel. Pros: damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Cons: aimed on sight speed and movement speed. Next is the XRK CZEN MK2. Pros: damage range, bullet velocity. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Perfectly balanced range with mobility. Last for the barrels, we have the FSS 20.8-inch Nexus. Pros: damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Cons: aimed on sight speed and movement speed. Now we're on to the lasers. First off, the 1mW laser. Pros: hip fire accuracy, and there are no cons, and it's undetectable by the enemies. Now we have the 5mW laser. Pros: hip fire accuracy, sprint to fire speed. Cons: laser visible to enemies. Only for the aggressive. And last we have the tac laser. Pros: aimed on sight speed, aiming stability, aim locking steadiness. Cons: laser visible to enemies. Exposes position when active. Improves accuracy while aiming down sights. Now we're on to the optics. First off, the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. We have the Corp Combat Hollow Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the Operator Reflex Sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Next we have the Scout Combat Optic. Precision optic with a 3.25 magnification for long range targeting. Pros: zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. We have the 4.0 times flip hybrid. 4.0 times optic manually flips to closer range holographic sight. Pros: hollow and scout toggle and zoomable. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Now we have the AIM-OP reflex sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. After that, the APX5 holographic sight. Pros: precision sight picture. Cons: aimed on sight speed. Next is the integral hybrid. 3.25 times scout with integral reflex sight for quickly transitioning between sights. Pros, reflex and scout toggle and zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Solar Zero NVG Enhanced 3.25 Gen 3 night vision with thermal overlay for enhanced situational awareness. Not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros, thermal target identification and zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the VLK 3.0 times optic. 3.0 times magnification provides reliable targeting. Pros, zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the sniper scope, high power 4.4 times scope, long range encounters. Optic glint visible to enemies. Pros, zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Viper reflex. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the GI mini reflex. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Thin frame for unobstructed sight picture. Now we have the PBX Holo 7 sight. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Next is the Cronin C480 Pro optic. Optic with a 3.5 times magnification provides excellent targeting. Pros, zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the monocle reflex sight. Low intrusion frame for improved targeting. Target tracking. Pros, precision sight picture. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the variable zoom scope. Zooms between 3.0 and 6.1 times for fighting at extended ranges. Optic glint visible to enemies. Pros, zoom level, magnification toggle. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the canted hybrid. 3.25 scout with side mounting reflex sight. Lets you change engagement distances with a flick of the wrist. Pros, reflex and scout toggle and zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Merc Thermal Optic 3.25 times scope with thermal imaging highlights targets and provides visibility in all lighting conditions. Not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros, thermal target identification, zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. And last for the optics we have the Thermal Hybrid. 3.25 thermal scope with a side mounting reflex sight, toggles thermal imaging with a flick of the wrist. Not compatible with night vision goggles. Pros, reflex and thermal toggle and zoom level. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we're on to the stocks. First off, the FSS Blackjack. Pros, aiming stability. Cons, aim walking movement speed. Provides reliable stability while aiming. We have the XRK Strike Light 3. Pros, aim walking movement speed. Cons, aiming stability. Designed for agility while aiming down sights. And last we have the No Stock. Pros, movement speed, aim down sight speed. Cons, aiming stability and recoil control. Now we're on to the Underbarrels. First off, the Commando foregrip. Pros, recoil stabilization, aiming stability. Cons, movement speed. Keeps the weapon steady while aiming and helps maintain control during heavy fire. Now we have the M203 40mm high explosive Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots explosive rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the M203 40mm incendiary Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots incendiary rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. After that, the 12 gauge deputy. Pros, Underbarrel shotgun. Cons, aim down sight speed. Now we have the Merc foregrip. Pros, recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Cons, aim walking movement speed and aim down sight speed. After that we have the M203 40mm smoke screen. Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots smoke rounds. Cons, aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now I have the Cronin Shark 2. Pros: aiming stability, cons movement speed, best in class control. Provides best in class control acquiring targets. Next up is the M203 40mm Recon. Pros: Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots snapshot rounds. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now is the M203 40mm Flash. Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots flash rounds. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Now we have the Ranger foregrip. Pros: recoil control, aiming stability. Cons: aim locking movement speed and aim down sight speed. Stabilizes weapon while aiming for improved long-range combat. Now we have the M203 40mm concussive. Underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots concussive rounds. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. And last but not least, for the underbarrels, we have the Operator foregrip. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aim down sight speed. Helps control vertical recoil for faster follow-up shots. Now we're on to the ammunition. First off, the 50 round mags. Extended mag holds 50 rounds of 5.56 NATO ammunition. Pros: magazine ammo capacity. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Then we have the 60 round mags. Mag holds 60 rounds of 5.56 NATO ammunition. Pros: magazine ammo capacity. Cons: aim down sight speed and movement speed. Next off is the rear grips. And first we have the XRK Void 2. Pros: aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. Cons: aiming stability and recoil control. Now we have the Cronin Sniper Elite. Pros: aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. Cons: aim walking movement speed. Keeps the weapon incredibly stable while aiming. Last, for the rear grips, we have the FTA CR89 rubber. Pros: recoil control. Cons: aiming stability. Keeps gun tight in hand, less steady, but helps control recoil. Last, for the Grau 5.56 assault rifle, we have the perks. First off, the FMJ. Increases bullet penetration and damage against equipment and kill streaks. Next is sleight of hand for reload quickness. We have frangible wounding. Bullet causes target healing to be briefly delayed. We have heavy hitter, where melee produces greater stun on targets. After that, fully loaded. Start with maximum reserve ammo. Next we have burst. Changes fire mode to 3-round burst. Now we have recon. See enemy nameplates at greater distances. After that, Mo Money, earn additional XP for kills. Headshot XP. Fast melee for melee quickness. After that, frangible disabling. Bullets slow enemy movement and briefly disable tactical sprint when shooting legs. And last, for the perks, we have presence of mind for extended hold breath duration. And that is it for the Grau 5.56 assault rifle. And again, I will be making videos about my favorite attachments for each gun. But until then, have a great day and peace.